We are at Whiteboard. That translates to the mouth of the river.
ตนก็อนุโมทนากับทุกท่านทุกคนทุกฝ่ายที่มาทำในสิ่งที่สร้างสรรค์สิ่งที่ดีที่งามต่อการศึกษาของไทยเราเนาะของประเทศไทยเราซึ่งสิ่งเหล่านี้ก็ถือว่าเป็นสิ่งที่ทางโรงเรียนของเราใฝ่ฝันปีนป่ายแสวงหาอยู่แต่เราก็ไปไม่ถึงด้วยกรอบด้วยขอบด้วยเขตด้วยงบประมาณของเรามันยังไปไม่ได้แล้ววิชาที่มันมีอานุภาพมีอิทธิพลมากก็คือภาษาอังกฤษซึ่งเป็นสิ่งที่พวกเราใฝ่ฝันอยู่ตลอดเวลาและก็มองหาช่องทางแต่เราก็ยังไปไม่ได้ถือว่าจุดนี้ถือว่าเป็นสิ่งที่โชคดีสำหรับโรงเรียนมูลนิธิวัดบากบ่อที่มีผู้ใจดีมีผู้ใจบุญยื่นมือภาษาคนไทยก็ว่าเทวดาช่วยเทวดาช่วยสนับสนุนดลบันดาลใจให้ผู้มีความรู้มีความสามารถได้หยิบยื่นเข้ามาจริงแล้วแม้แต่นโยบายของราชการเขาก็คิดใฝ่ฝันแต่มันก็ยังก้าวไปไม่ถึงดูแล้วโรงเรียนมูลนิธิเราอาจจะไปถึงก่อนเพราะว่าเทวดามาช่วยเนาะผู้บริหารของเราเกิดการตื่นตัวขึ้นมาเป็นการจุดประกายที่ให้ทุกฝ่ายตื่นตัวครูบาอาจารย์มองเห็นรูปแบบว่าในรูปแบบมันแปลกใหม่มันตื่นตาตื่นใจสำหรับครูบาอาจารย์แต่ก็เด็กนักเรียนเขาก็ตื่นเต้นจุดประกายเด็กคือจุดให้เขาตื่นเต้นพอเขาตื่นเต้นเขาก็อยากเสนอให้ชาวโลกเขาได้รับทราบว่าพระก็มีคุณค่าต่อโลกอยู่นะอะไรประมาณนั้น
ปกติแล้วห้องปฏิบัติการทางภาษาตามที่พวกเราเคยทำกันก็คือจะเน้นไปที่เครื่องมือซึ่งพอผมเห็นแล้วนี่คือทิศทางที่ถูกต้องในการที่จะให้เด็กได้ใส่ใจได้เรียนรู้วิชาภาษาอังกฤษและก็ได้ใช้งานได้จริงครับดีใจมากครับที่มีโครงการแบบนี้ครับถ้าโปรเจกต์นี้มีการก้าวเดินไปในทิศทางที่เหมาะสมแล้วจะเป็นต้นแบบที่จะนำไปสู่โรงเรียนอื่นๆแต่เมื่อสถานการณ์เปลี่ยนจำเป็นที่ต้องเรียนรู้ทุกสถานที่ทุกเวลาไม่มีข้อจำกัดในเรื่องนี้ฉะนั้นการเรียนสอนออนไลน์จึงเป็นเรื่องสำคัญ
ก็ขอขอบคุณที่ทำฝันของโรงเรียนมูลนิธิวัดบากบ่อให้เป็นจริงแล้วก็เกิดขึ้นจริงได้ใช้ประโยชน์จริงขอบคุณมากครับ
What if the cure for cancer is stuck in the mind of someone who couldn't afford an education?
The first is a learning management system, an online platform that facilitates learning through added courseware.
This is a platform that gives them real-time recording capabilities. It provides them with an online forum. It provides them with calendaring, grading systems, etc. And then we're introducing technology to kids via tablets and gamification to teach English right now. But then
The second component would be the program initially starting in Thailand with foundation schools to redesign, rebuild, and retrofit unused classrooms to make them warm, welcoming, and conducive for learning.
When you see statistics of millions of youth globally going without basic education, it's important to understand what a single person can do to make a huge impact on the daily lives of everyone in the community that is connected with that child. We are a global community, and this one school that is being helped represents the millions more that need our help. My hope is that people will see what we're doing here, and they'll want to help us however they can. It's what the kids really need. It's important to me, and it's important to them.
All right, at the school, tell me about this room.
We're in this new modern classroom that Kru Tewa has always been dreaming about, right? Where it's this modern classroom where all the students can be comfortable in the way that they learn. At first, it started out as just a concept, something we were talking about, and it was where we were looking for like a little bit more of a comfortable way to teach class. You can probably see the sweat on my face right now. Bum 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 bum
rises and it falls, it shines and then it fades. Life is like a song, it dance while it plays. It rises and it falls, it shines and then it fades. This is a problem, this is a shame. It shines and then it fades and you leave, even without me. You told me to never grow. I know it's coming and there's nowhere to run. Nobody gets round this one, it's responsible for the road I'm on. Its rises and its falls. I look back and that's impossible, and I don't listen to what I'm told. Dealing with feelings of getting old. Guess I'm just cynical. There's so much is out of my control, and I don't know what kind of world I'm gonna live in. Afraid the men making them decisions are selling me a rainbow to a pot of gold. This just gonna be my tombstone. Are we on our own in a crowd? Are we on our own in the ground? If we can't agree.
Hi, I'm Paul. We're from International Bubble. I'm Korean American. I've been teaching for about 11 years.
And my name is Ben, and I'm going to be your teacher. At IBE, we help you learn how to communicate in English.
I'm not feeling sure it's the time to be.
Hello, I'm Patty, teacher at IDE. We build better students. Study with us is like study with your family.
Hello, I'm Val. I've taught in 2 different countries and a wide range of students and abilities. I specialize in knowledge. Here at IBE, we don't just teach, we make sure that students learn the essential skills they need for their studies, career, and future plans.
International Bubble Education.
We build better students. Sarika Bodhiva.
Are we on our own in the ground? If we can't agree, we'll believe what we're talking about right now. With a dog and a rifle, 12 years old. Feed him for nightfall, home for sunset. Mama there baking bread, doing her, and about all she ever did. He goes in a mine with a pick, 13 years old. Swing till you spit black, mine for black gold, in Congo, Ohio. 16 years old, right on the same coat through the whole Midwest. You wouldn't guess the world was at war. So he's flown off to a firefight. Uncle Sam gives him a bulldozer and dynamite. Dreams in a cold of Congo, Ohio. Hey son, we were given life's brightest one. Day was long, midnight comes. Hey son, what we're given, yours has just begun. You should get some. Please know your love. For me to see how far I've come, I need to know how far I gotta go to control that fire in her eyes and let it burn to warm my soul to hope. She's wild inside, circle round, she's bound to fly. So I gotta find her alone, get close and find my time. Roll for make her mine, time so it glitter and gold. I'll strip her out of her home and everything she knows. Draw new lines round her body with diamonds and clothes. Surround her in a desert so wide she'll never go. Display her like art in a cage to behold. I'm the dragon of men. I want a fly to get in. She's my fountain and my inferno. For her to see how far I'll go with my control. Oh, I bulldoze it home, every bird and stone of mine.
In 5 years, I'd like to show you my whiteboard. Yes, yes. Yeah, you're the handyman.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay, and that'll be my profile. Good. Handyman. That would go a lot of
way.
My dad was from North Korea, and my mom was from South Korea. And it's where my dad, he was hit by a piece of shrapnel from a bomb. And he was laying in a pool of his own blood. And a U.S. Marine actually saved him right before the 38th parallel line was made between North and South Korea. He lived in South Korea for a while, and he eventually met my mom, who I think came from a wealthy family, and they didn't really like him that much because he was just some North Korean. And he had nothing, right? He had been adopted by that soldier, and then that soldier passed away when my dad turned 18. And so eventually, my dad had this opportunity to this lady. We have been teaching at 2 local schools for about 6 months now with a group of 40 students, and we're teaching them how to learn. We're using Google, we're using apps, we're using toys, we're using games. It's really fun communication. With this project, with this campaign, what we're hoping to do is hire teachers from better schools to come once a week or twice a week and teach a 12-week program in focusing on 2 points: communication and learning how to learn. So one of the problems here in Thailand is that teachers don't really improve every year. They're not constantly learning, they're not adapting, they're not really trying to change the progression of things. So we want to help these students get a chance at using free online tools to break the barrier of unequal education opportunities.
แต่เมื่อสถานการณ์เปลี่ยนจำเป็นที่ต้องเรียนรู้ทุกสถานที่ทุกเวลาไม่มีข้อจำกัดในเรื่องนี้ฉะนั้นการจัดการเรียนสอนออนไลน์จึงเป็นเรื่องสำคัญแต่เมื่อสถานการณ์เปลี่ยนจำเป็นที่ต้องเรียนรู้ทุกสถานที่ทุกเวลาไม่มีข้อจำกัดในเรื่องนี้ฉะนั้นการจัดการเรียนสอนออนไลน์จึงเป็นเรื่องสำคัญและที่เรายังทำไม่ได้ดีพอพวกเราทำไม่ได้ดีพอ
I believe that education is a right. It's a human right. It's not something that should be accessible only to those with means.
There's a shift in thinking in the way that we're educating people.
It's a very unequal access to educational opportunity. It's a world of difference between international school and government school.
And you mentioned Kutiwa earlier. Tell me a little about the team.
Krutewa is, in my opinion, one of the movers in every organization, right? So every organization has a person that you talk to them, you move forward with them, and they will help you push everything forward, right? And I believe that work these days is all about trying to find these like-minded individuals in each organization and trying to build it up, right? Build it up and do something good in this world where it's this joint collaboration towards a bigger goal instead of sitting around and complaining about what's happening in the world. As I've been in Asia for about 15 years now, working in English as a second language, it's where there are so many people all trying to get some education to go somewhere in this world, right? And for me, I was fortunate enough to be able to build whatever okay talent I have in doing what I do to make a living in this world, right? And to be where I am, going from budgeting $9.80 per week for spaghetti, meat, and noodles, and sauce, and making sure that everything was okay, to now, right? And that's a little bit of where the project comes in, where the story is my story, and then we have our story of what we're trying to do here. And then there's the part where it's a new story of some kid, male or female or whatever, is able to learn some skills, understand what autodidactism is, right? What self-learning is, learning on your own and using your tools and resources around you to make something of yourself, you know, and then that person ends up getting a higher salary or whatever they're doing, or builds their own business, and then is able to bring more money into their local community and economy, right? It's where technology and the internet has brought us all together in ways that people don't really fully understand all the facets quite yet, I think, you know, and they choose to focus on whatever is popularized and this beast of media that it is these days, you know, and that's what we're working on, you know, that one soul that's able to create some other ripples maybe long after we're gone, right? Yeah.
Wow, yeah. So in an essence, my Bodhi tree is your way of at this time in life giving back to like the world, giving back to society, or giving.
Well, I'm a builder by nature, right? So I love building things. I love connecting people and building things. And that's just a really awesome little passion in my life. You know, you got people in life who approach things as engineers or as philosophers or as artists, right? And they have all these different ways that they come across making a living in their life again, right? And so I love to see things grow and build, and that's my motivation for working on something like this. And that's the vision, where it's a thing that it's a website that you can log into. You have your track of collated information and resources that you can follow through. And eventually, we're seeking for those people, those Quora responders, right? Those Reddit responders who love to be QC'd and get tokens on answering questions, where students can submit different forms of evidence that shows that they know a certain skill that will pass them through whatever curriculum needs and requirements there are in the future. Because education these days is very quantifiable in a sense, right? It's where the base knowledge that people need to know by the time they graduate either high school or university is all there, right? It's all there. It's not necessarily recreated. It's just reorganized and dressed up differently these days, right? And it depends on the teacher. Mm-hmm.
So explain to me, because this is, I mean, everything you're saying is absolutely fascinating. But I was curious, just for the viewer, so just walk me briefly through how it works. So someone will log on. Like, start with, like, they log on, and then what are they doing on there?
I would liken it to Khan Academy right now, right? For what we're building. It's that Khan Academy is broken down into different subjects by grade, all right? And then within those, they have little quizzes, and they have questions and video content that teaches a student everything they need to know to be able to answer those questions. It would also follow forums in like the Google Digital Garage as well, right? Where students can look through a lot of different content, read through, watch videos, interact with people, and then be able to learn it in a certifiable way. After that, there's an element where education starts to become a little bit more complex, right? Because people, they can't just learn from question and answer format. Side is that people will always need other people to help with integration, right? It's that we're not going to come in and tell them we're going to do it, you have to do it our way and it's better. It's always that we see what you're doing that's really great, and we're going to try to support it and save you some time so that you can work on it and do something else. If you really think about the progression of human civilization, right? We were nomads and we were gatherers and hunters for many years before we started learning how to grow and work with agriculture. And so after that, people had time to do everything else: music, art, law, writing, dreams, passions, whatever. And so if we can afford them a little bit more time, maybe we can make the overall quality of education at the school better. Right? And there's this human element that I've seen that's always been required as we've been running this type of tutoring company, where people really need other people to help them do what they need to do, right? And we need each other for all of that, you know? And the sooner people realize that, the better, right? And the opportunities that a person who is somewhere out in the country within a family that makes like $300 a month can have at least a fighting chance, right? At least a fighting chance where they could log in, they could go through let's say 30 hours of content, and then they start asking questions to the admin, they start discussing, they start figuring out, like looking for more resources, more knowledge about whatever they're studying on whatever track they're on, and then we start to augment this as the whole platform in itself builds and each iterative process, right? In the beginning, it's simple. It's exercises, Khan Academy, it's knowledge that's built in a systematized way. It's a goal, though, to promote people to find what they're interested in, learn as much as they can from free content out there available in a semi-organized fashion, and then excel, right? And do something with their life. Yeah.
So like right now, say like there's a young kid in the provinces of Thailand and he's eager to learn, but he doesn't have access to, like my buddy Tree's not here yet. Like what is like what's the situation now? Can a kid just learn? Or?
Well, the progression over the last, let's say, 2.5 years or so, right, is that first we started with a weekly English workshop at the school, right? That was the first thing that we did. We told them, okay, we want to teach a weekly course here to give the kids some exposure to English and learn a few words and try to get them to remember some stuff, right, to retain information. That slowly evolved into them asking us to be a part of their English curriculum, where we're co-teaching the English content with the teachers. After that, it's where we met Ryan, and we had this situation where there were benefactors in Thailand who were also committed to improving the local, not improving, augmenting the local communities and people. Yes, and so. Sorry, I just lost my track. No, it's okay. I just lost my track.
Augmenting the local communities.
Augmenting the local communities. It's where. Sorry, I gotta think a second. I lost it for a second. Where was I? Okay, augmenting local communities. It was talking about. I knew exactly what I was gonna say next. All right. Cut. Okay. All right. Ask me a fresh question and I'll pick up from there.
So first you were teaching. You were working with the schools a few years back.
Thank you. Yes, and so after that, we got about 500,000 baht worth of donations, and we were able to offer 1-year-long scholarships for six kids. Right. Right now we have 4, and we mentor them every week in English. One girl we have has gone through 300 books on one of the platforms we have for her, and she's just picked it up all by herself, right? And we've been coaching and mentoring her on this all throughout the way. And so right now it's simple. The first stage is we get some more, like better computers for about 10 of the teachers, right? We get tablets for 30 students that they can use inside of the classroom within the schedule regularly, and then the teachers start slowly building content that supports their whole school curriculum as well as English content as well. Those would be language metrics. Those would be communication metrics. Other stuff would exist within grammar, as well as getting into other subjects such as chemistry, biology, engineering, health science, and physics. The way I see it is that you can imagine a person walking down a path, and they were walking down their path of education, and each point, each fork that they hit is some knowledge point, some skill check that would be nice to know, right? For grade 1, it breaks down into phonics. For grade 6, it's how to write a paragraph about a story and analyze a character, right? In high school, it's going to be taking multiple sources of information and providing a premise of ideas or theorizing a concept and thinking about what it is that, or writing a detailed analysis of script. Being able to disseminate information, break it down, and engage in abstraction to where they can exist in this multidisciplinary world, right? Like, that's the whole thing. We help a lot of kids with university applications all the time, and much of the trends these days are people who want to be who want to come from multiple disciplines, right? They're using lots of different types of industries and skills to be able to excel in whatever they're doing. So imagine that you're starting with your ABCs and you have this login representation of your progress, right? And it starts with your tree is very simple because your knowledge is very, very basic, right? And then it goes into moving where your tree progresses a little bit and you're a little bit further along based on the exercises that you've done thus far or the evidence that you've submitted, right? Here, this is where accreditation alternatives, I think about the way that it would be measured, right? So it can provide evidence of speaking and checking into a hotel, can calculate the rate of how gravity affects a falling object for an experiment and a lab report, some kind of video, right? And if they can't do it or if they don't pass, it would be something they cannot do, and then our infrastructure will hopefully support pointers on the next attempt so that they can pass it again at some point, right? So imagine if a kid somewhere in Africa or in Asia is able to log in and follow through the path and go through all the different exercises and realize, oh, I need to study for my IELTS and my SATs so that I can get into this program, and then follows through all the different basic skills and fundamental content that comes in university classes as well. A lot of it all is measurable and quantifiable these days. Getting a person to learn it is the difficult part. I think that this kind of system doesn't really exist in this world today. It's where everything we have is either it's a platform for people to sell small courses, right? Or it's a all-encompassing program that has the same kind of learning and questioning format throughout everything because of cost. So yes, I hope that we can create a different way for people to have a checklist for their education in their own right. The things that they know, the things that they want to accomplish, and someday contribute to this sphere of human knowledge, right? It's that what we know starts from what we knew about fire, right? And then it goes out to everything we know about physics and quarks and bosons and Higgs. And each academic, each person who builds something in this world contributes a little bit to it, and that's where human knowledge as a whole starts to grow. And I really do truly believe that really improves the standard of living for everybody.
All right, yeah. What is your role?
Well, a playful term I've given myself is the janitor, right? It's where I clean stuff up. No, I see myself as looking at all the different problems that arise in making something like this happen. Started from the beginning, it's where sometimes you'll always get pushback from the school or the teachers or people or their perspectives. And so it's one part where we're making sure that we do right by everybody and we maintain transparency to the highest degree, right? And so that's the most important thing about all of this, right? Maintaining transparency to the highest degree and making sure that the connection between the schools, our aims, and the funding is all very clear. As an educator, I have lots to contribute just because of my views on education and some experience, but I'm very flexible on taking lots of different ideas and being able to blend them in together to accomplish something great, because everybody is quite different, really. They are. We are looking to build an alternative accreditation system. These days, universities, they have a diploma system and a degree system where people have to get it to the point where they can negotiate for higher salaries and get other opportunities in the world. So the long story short is to build a way that people can get accredited by other qualified educators within a network of QCable, evidence-based submissions from students. And that's where it was the leveling of the playing field for anybody who has the ability to go through whatever obstacles we put in their way in an academic sense.
Well, and this is done through the software.
The software and the human integration support.
And tell me about some of the plans for the funds.
Okay, the plans for the funds right now, it breaks down into a few main categories, right? Number one would be the renovation. Number two would be the hardware, right? Number three would be the human homeroom teacher. It's not going to be an alien. No, it would be the homeroom teacher that is there for 40 hours a week teaching and integrating with all of the tools, right? So it's an annual salary, hopefully on a 3-year contract, at least for one teacher for the basis of the model and the initial research, right? After that, it's going to be they need a classroom to work in that's got some air conditioning and it's in a temperature that students don't fall asleep in, right? Then the kids and the teachers all need a little bit of hardware that they can actually access the tools, right? And making sure that the internet infrastructure is there at the school that they can move along with all the speeds necessary, right?
And when you say hardware, what do you mean by that?
Hardware would be 10 teachers for maybe the students or the teachers in the beginning. 10 notebooks.
10
yes.
notebooks, 10 notebook computers?
10 notebook computers for the teachers, right? And about 40 tablets, right? 30 tablets for the students inside of the classroom that will be running at hopefully 5 to 15 times per week, and 10 tablets for spares, right? Yes. A visual representation instead of a bunch of words, yes. I have terrible posture, and I remember a picture of me walking to the temple one time. My back was hunched, and I was walking in, and there were 4 scooter guys, right? So motorcycle taximen who have an orange vest and medallion in a sense here, right? And they were picking up their kids, right? And their kids got up onto the motorcycle, right? They sat them in front. Motorcycle driver revved up and then left, right? And so I don't like using the words lowest tier or poor or limited in any sense, right? I will just say it's for a group of people that has made it work, and these are the educational opportunities that they have access to as of today. And it's funny because these things can be changed so quickly, relatively easily, comparatively when you're talking about different groups of people, right? And like, that's what makes it all fun. Yeah.
All right, cool.
What we're shooting for is in the next 3 to 7 to 10 years is that we'll revisit this raw footage with your expertise, hopefully. See what comes of it all, right? Like everything, yes, is very muddled and gray right now, yeah, you know? But at the same time, why not dare to dream, dude?